welcome to Totally Off Track. Yo.
Where we talk about my butt crack.
Yo. That is totally whack.
So I should talk about my butt.
Oh. So, welcome to Totally Off Track. That was our rap.
Temporary intro.
Temporary
a placeholder
intro.
for an
Just
intro.
for season 1.
Just for season 1. Just for this one episode. My name is Paige.
I'm Vern.
And on today's episode, we have our good friend Kevin Lanigan. He's here
Hi, Kevin.
in the definitely a studio with us.
We are definitely in a studio.
The air conditioning being on is evidence of that, if nothing else.
Right.
It gets hot in the recording studio.
Today we're going to talk about death in the social media. If you are new to this podcast, which you probably are, we rotate our topics in segments of 3. So one week we'll talk about hypotheticals, another week we'll talk about philosophy things, and another week we'll talk about social issues.
You're right.
So, yeah, that's real.
That's
So
how it
this
goes.
week is philosophy
We
week.
are?
What?
That's, yeah. I could have said it better myself.
Good.
That's why I let you say it.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for
Anytime.
knowing. So today is philosophy, and the topic is death and the social media. Meaning, so we have a list, a mental list
Yes.
of topics.
We
to
made a
go
list
through
last week,
that I didn't bring.
but we don't have the list. We left it at Paige's apartment, and we're in the studio right now.
Right, the studio.
So we don't have it with us.
Right. So the first thing that I guess we could talk about is what do we do whenever someone dies? What do we do with their social media accounts, their Facebooks and their Twitters? Because I've seen a couple of different approaches. On one hand, I've seen people turn it into like a memoriam. On the other hand, I've seen people just completely abandon it.
I was thinking about this. Unlike last time, I actually did some sort of preparation for this. I was talking about this. I once saw, and I won't name any names here, but I once saw a social media site for someone who had passed away, used as like their social media site as if they were still alive.
Oh.
Like someone was still using the site and they're communicating as if they were whoever it was that owned the site, who owned the space and passed away. And I remember thinking, that's really kind of creepy.
I don't think that's right.
Well, then it raises a number of questions for me, but none of them are ethical, and all of them are logistical.
Go on.
Because, so for instance, when I was a senior in high school, someone that I knew committed suicide, and the next day sorry, I didn't do it. But
I didn't say you did. I just apologize.
But
It's time
You know
to
that
build
Kevin
again.
if
Lanigan
we
always
okay,
commits
just
suicide.
to ground it before we continue, if we have to apologize every time someone mentions someone around them that died, this podcast will be 1 hour longer, perhaps, than it normally would
New
be.
rule: every time we mention someone who has died, we all just go, "I'm sorry."
We
and then
do the
continue.
British "God rest his soul."
We go, God rest his
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
Sorry about
Alright.
that.
And I want
But-
to say for interrupting you.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. Well, I'm sorry for segueing us away from death and towards
You're
the
all
death
gonna be
glare
sorry.
that I've been giving you off camera. The approach that I was talking about was when I was a senior in high school. One of my friends committed suicide, and the next day, her mother made a post on Facebook through her daughter's Facebook account. The question that I had though is how. Like, do you put the phone call into Facebook and be like, "Hi, Facebook, my daughter committed suicide. Can I get her password information?
Some
Can
parents, I think, have the password for security reasons.
But like every person I've known that has died, their parents have made that status. And I'm wondering, like, is there like a forum do you ask it on like the like help section where it's like technical issues won't let me like statuses? My daughter committed suicide. Can I make a post from her account?
I'm sorry.
It's
there was
really not funny at all. But
there was
alright.
no. That's I was thinking about because at the beginning of this year, well, actually, no, technically it was at the end of last year. There was a big thing on Facebook where it was like my year in video thing, where it tabulated like your top posts that you had for that year through like likes and shares and comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they were all really popular. Side note, I was very disappointed in mine because they were all like, they only show like 3 statuses, and they were like the only 3 serious statuses I did all year. I was really excited, like this like uplifting music and like jokes about like 3 cheese chicken parmesan or something, but it didn't happen. But anyway, this
Do you have jokes about 3 cheese
That's
chicken parmesan?
Have you
All right,
seen his
subject for a different podcast
that's-
without
that's-
death in the subject.
That's different.
Yeah.
But anyway, this fellow, his son had died, and he made a video on Facebook or on something, and it went like semi-viral, and it was him like asking Facebook if he could see the video that would have been for his son's account, because his son's account was still there, but he was saying like he couldn't access the Facebook account. So I don't maybe he didn't try to access his Facebook, or did like
I don't know.
I don't know how that worked.
Yeah.
I know, well, I know that I've thought about these things in terms of my own life before. Like, what if some tragic accident dies and it happens and I die?
I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine.
If an accident dies and I happen,
If-
you know.
yeah, what happens
Oh my
then?
God.
No, and I've thought about these things, and I've thought about like writing letters to people just in case, not like in a weird like suicidal way, but just in a.
No,
I want to
I've got
make
that.
sure that people know what I think, and in those I've considered like putting down passwords and stuff of things. Also, I think I know. Well, I don't think I know. I have a few of my passwords written down in places so I don't forget them for like various accounts.
That's real. I have done that. I have like written down like information as far as like social media sites I have go. But I just realized it's like it's like a good ways into my journal. It's like a good like 80% into it. So
You're gonna have to get through a lot of teen angst.
Yeah, there'd
before
be
you
a
find
lot
my
of-
Facebook
So
password.
so many fart jokes
So,
before you can
exactly.
get
And 3 cheese parmesan
Uh,
jokes.
well, that's the thing. I was actually because I was
Sorry.
I was the one who pitched this subject to Paige because of 2 reasons. First off, well, for a multitude of reasons, but first off, I'm very anal about like what goes on my social media. I'm like, I'm really particular about that, and also I'm constantly living in fear of death, and I'm constantly got that black cloud hanging over me. And
Yeah,
I
I
was,
see it right there.
it looks good.
It's pretty intimidating.
It keeps looking at me.
It does that. But
It's not gonna rain on the studio's couch.
It's not gonna
No.
rain on my parade is it?
No, it has this thing like, it's really weird. If I were to sit right now in like a right angle where my legs are straight out,
Right.
but my chest and my head were straight up,
Uh-huh.
it would rain on my legs and on me, as you can see it is right
Right.
now. But if I go back to sitting cross-legged, the rain moves to.
Yeah, no, I noticed that.
It's weird. But anyway, but I'm constantly. I totally got like off track.
Totally off
Hey!
track. Hey, oh, God.
I'm leaving.
Kevin quits.
Kevin quit podcast. But I was thinking. But I was kind of thinking about it, and I don't. Maybe it's just because I'm morbid. Maybe it's just because I have a dark sense of humor or something. But like, for the folks listening at home, I use my Facebook very specifically, and I don't post anything like real life on my Facebook. I just post stupid jokes on my Facebook. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, so what I did was I wrote a bunch of jokes from the perspective of me as a ghost to post on my Facebook after I passed away. This is a real thing. This is a real
This
thing.
is real.
This is a real thing. And so that's, and I'm very serious about it. I'd like to get posted, but at the same time, I feel like it's gonna make a lot of people upset if they get all this news like, oh, Vern. Well, maybe I'd hope it'd make people upset. They get all this news like Vern passed away and
Finally,
Thank God.
bring out the maypole.
thank God. But like I think
I'm
if people will be very I'm sorry.
God rest his soul.
I think people will be very confused if they get this word that like I've died and they attend my funeral and they see my body laying in the casket, and then like 7 months later, like my grieving family reads my journal and they find like this is his dying wish. We can't deny this, and they start posting jokes as me onto my Facebook, and then everyone like that I'm friends with on my Facebook, like, what the hell? What an ass! He faked his death. Like I've thought about that, so
just to escape his creditors.
yeah, just
Well, no, I mean, no, never mind. I don't know enough about that book to actually make a joke. I was gonna make a Tom Sawyer joke.
The best jokes
And then-
I find are the ones that never happen.
Exactly.
Never.
It's always best to stop
never
them
get
halfway.
told.
Well, as the person who talked to you about this, whenever you were talking about it, I know that you said that your girlfriends had absolutely not, and I've already decided in my mind that I'm definitely going to burn that bridge with her. I've never met her for an extended period of time, but I've already decided to burn that bridge, and
Gotcha.
that I will do this for you. I will post your ghost jokes.
I will
on
say,
Facebook.
and I mean, I don't know, I hope this doesn't expedite the process, but at least one of them is really funny. At least one of those.
Vern, if you mysteriously disappear tomorrow, Paige is now my suspect number one, because she will post them just for the likes, and she's like, I can't post it if he's alive,
Yeah.
so I guess I just have to
got
kill
But I'd
him.
have to do it from his
Think of the shares.
from his.
But isn't that... Ooh, this is a nice segue that I just ruined.
Go
But
on.
isn't that what people do whenever they take control over social media sites that are not theirs? Like if they're family members, isn't that what they do? Like in the instances where they start posting as their deceased, whatever. Isn't that kind of what they're doing? Where they're seeking a kind of
I think it's
validation
different.
or a kind of
I think it's
not
different.
validation,
It's
but
because usually, at least from what I've seen, with the one exception I think that you brought up, from what I've seen, usually whenever people like parents or friends or family or whatever post on their deceased family members' accounts, it's usually because they're trying to say in memoriam. They don't usually post as that
Gotcha,
person.
gotcha.
Yeah.
They say this is the family. Yeah, I don't know.
This
I'm
is
the mom.
Jerry's mom. Jerry passed away the other day.
We all love
very
him.
very
I'm
few
sorry.
people leave a last very poignant poem for their parents to post on Facebook for them, with lots of great things to say about taking life to its fullest. And
I may be
very
dead now, but I'll live
very
on your
few
hearts.
people. Now I have mine stashed away in my pillowcase, so
Right.
just in case.
So in
I
case
inevitably
Kevin is
demise.
dead
Yes.
tomorrow, we can add him.
It is.
You can add me to another list of suspects.
It is in
What we're saying-
AABBCC format.
What we're saying is what
with
we're
a Shel Silverstein type tone to it.
What we're saying is if there's a horrible accident at the Totally Off Track Studios tonight, expect some quality Facebook posts tomorrow.
Because they're going to be great. You can find us all on Facebook. Send us friend requests. Both of the friend requests we get from podcast strangers are going to be great. I'll
Yeah,
accept them right away.
absolutely.
Send me a message with your name when you listen to this podcast, what you were wearing, and
Was it sexy?
did you like it?
Were you
Yeah.
horny?
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, so those 5 things, and I will friend you straight away.
Also,
If he's still alive.
And you
speaking of
will-
the Facebook,
Oh, my parents will friend
I
you
will friend
post-mortem.
him. I will friend you for him because
Thank you.
I'm in charge of all
I
dead
will leave
people's
Paige
Facebooks.
my Yahoo account and all of my passwords.
Right. Conveniently the day before he dies.
Right.
No, speaking of Facebook though, soon and very soon, I'm going to make our Facebook page.
Hey-o.
So by the time this is up, it'll definitely we're pun gunning right now because my
It
name
is
is Paige.
I didn't know that was called pun gunning.
It is
Pun
pun
gun.
gunning.
Pun gun.
So for the podcast listeners,
For the
pun
podcast.
gunning is when you say a pun and you just point two finger pistols at the person you said it towards, and you just keep going A until they either one, laugh, or two, acknowledge that you're a human being.
Was it-
Because when you make a pun, people tend to forget.
Wait, was there a pun in there? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I
Make the Facebook page. It
Make
was
the
unintentional.
I didn't mean.
And everyone knows that her last name is Facebook.
Right.
So,
So
that's the pun.
Yeah. No, so we're gonna make I will make a Facebook page, and by the time you're listening to this, it will definitely be up. And it will just be called Way Off Track.
Totally off track.
Totally off track. I'm sorry.
Get it right.
It'll be called Way Off Track, Totally Off Track, Get It Right, Laughs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Laughs
As
in
will
brackets.
the Twitter account. The handle will be HotBuns98.
Hot Buns 98.
Yes.
Oh,
Because
God.
there's already 97 of them.
you gotta stack it
That's spelled with
numerically.
threesies.
So just a question for my point of view.
Sure.
The topic is death and social media. Is it those two things together, like when they meet, or is it just like whichever one you feel like talking about? We combine two topics.
It's a mixed
Next
bag.
week is granola and the Holocaust, and we'll be talking about it here on Totally Off Track.
Well,
They're both
now
equally
that's
bad.
what next week's topic is. Social issue, granola and the Holocaust.
Special guest Heinrich Himmler.
To be fair, I hate raisins.
It is with those two things together. It's
When those two
when they meet.
When twixt they meet, these star-crossed lovers
Yes.
When they both check in at the same location.
in the
And-
same hotel, and then you find out that
And-
their rooms are right next to each other.
Like,
This
oh,
is the
awkward.
baby that they actually made whenever they
Right.
tore
Because
down
like
the wall.
because like Death is in a relationship with a guy and he's kind of a jerk, but she doesn't see it.
Right.
And then like he's really lonely and he's like a writer. And
Yeah.
he's very like sensitive.
Yeah.
And then like they're both like unhappy, so
Are
they
we
go
talking
down
about
to the
Moulin
bar.
Rouge right now?
I am talking about every romantic
Okay,
comedy.
okay,
That
good.
one just happens to have Ewan McGregor singing Elton John songs in it.
And how can you go wrong with
You
that?
can't.
I hope
Is
you
the
don't.
answer.
Elton John wrote at least 2 songs about people dying.
Goodbye, Norma Jean.
Never.
Okay.
When we're getting into copyright issues, but when you write as many songs as Elton John has, eventually you just come back to death.
I mean,
there are a
death.
finite number of topics, although the Beatles sort of pushed that a little bit when they started singing about octopuses and
Hey,
like
man.
now
Yeah,
no one can
Garden.
sing a song about an octopus without it being directly related back to
Yeah,
the
makes
Beatles,
sense.
and we have gotten totally
We are
off
totally
track.
off track.
Hey-o!
Anyway, pun guns all around. Yeah. So, no. Another thing that we had mentioned whenever we decided on this topic
Yes.
was the recent outcry with like celebrities and whenever they die,
Mhm.
and what's appropriate,
yeah,
like
yeah.
with the Tracy Morgan thing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happened,
well, yeah.
and
I
that's
totally
not
heard about this.
specifically social media, and he didn't die. Just so.
Although
Thank
I
goodness.
have been to the future where he dies, and it's basically the same jokes over again.
Right.
Weirdly enough, he doesn't do anything else from here on out.
Really.
He
just
gives graduate speeches.
Oh.
He becomes.
I was going to say he probably.
Oh,
You know
like,
how
gets
every
really
year
serious.
they find an actor who gave like what's it a
The
speech at
commencement.
Yeah,
the
commencement
commencement
speech.
speech,
Like Jim Carrey
and
was
everyone's
yesterday.
like,
Neil Gaiman.
"Wow, Charlie Days was so good," and then like for the next 40 years, podcast world, it's Tracy Morgan.
He's like,
It's every year from here on out.
I can't believe how things will blow up
You guys graduated college?
You graduated college, I died. What up with that?
And then, yep. And then he pulls up his shirt and little
Yeah.
baby cool.
Yeah, we're all going to by the way.
30 Rock. All right.
Watch it, Netflix, instant.
Yeah, do it.
That's a plug.
Sure.
I wrote that show.
You're welcome, Tina Fey. What?
She heard from atop her
She
pile
heard-
of money and
She
2
heard
children.
listening eagerly to our podcast.
Yes, finally.
Finally.
My
things
work
that
is
my
so
hand-
relevant. Eventually, they were going to
all
mention one of them.
This is all the validation I needed. This is
Finally, I can rest easy.
I was-
And that's when her,
Being
her
the first
pile of
man-
30 Rock money tipped over.
Yeah.
So anyway, with the Tracy Morgan thing, so like I said, he didn't die. Although,
I thought about it.
we were thinking about that with celebrities and how it does tend to blow up, and what is appropriate whenever someone who is famous dies. Should we be treating them like actual people?
Right.
I remember when Ryan Dunn died.
Mhm.
Ryan Dunn of Jackass. He died.
Right.
Like.
Did he die because he got too many dildos thrown in his face?
See, these are the kind of jokes that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is this appropriate?
Is this
Yeah.
appropriate?
Well,
no,
how many Fast and Furious jokes did you see when Paul Walker died? /
Yeah.
Did you realize so many people liked Paul Walker? Because I certainly didn't until he died.
Right.
I wasn't aware of the Paul Walker fan base either.
It's rabid.
But how about that? When Ryan Dunn passed away, he passed away. He was in a drunk driving accident.
Oh.
He'd been drinking. He was
I'm sorry.
driving. Crashed.
Yeah.
Farewell. But anyway, yeah. Roger,
Sorry.
this was.
Trigger
rest in peace.
warning.
Oh, sorry. This is bad territory.
We're bad people.
This was Roger Ebert when he was still living. He posted something on Twitter, and it was like, "Only jackasses drive drunk," or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Pun guns from Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a good joke.
pun guns from beyond the grave, but
He gave that death a thumbs down.
Oh.
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to put it. We're gonna have to edit in a trigger warning at the
This
beginning of this.
this is
What's a trigger warning?
Oh, trigger is
for
like
pun guns.
no. No.
Every time someone says a pun, it's just a cartoon pistol.
It's Yosemite Sam. Like, wow, incarnation.
No, trigger
Going
warning
up.
is whenever you're about to trigger someone in like a bad way. Like if you're talking about a topic that may upset someone.
I think you just do a general preface. Hey, these are 3 people who deflect serious situations with humor, talking about death. There may be a couple things in here that you find objectionable.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Viewer
like,
discretion is
that's what
advised.
I
Please
meant.
enjoy House.
That's what I
on
meant.
Fox.
Like I'm gonna have to edit that in.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that okay. Anyway, go on.
Sorry.
Okay. So Roger Ebert posted that like only jackasses drive drunk or something like that, and like Bam Margera got very upset because he was like
As Bam is wont to.
Yeah, as Bam is wont to do, and it was like how insensitive, blah 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 blah, and all this stuff. But it's like, to be fair, Roger Ebert had a point. You shouldn't drive drunk.
Right.
That's a bad idea.
Now the presentation of that message is questionable
The thing
because it
is-
is in like a spoof
joke.
form,
A
but
joke form.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think like the most well thought out, like beautifully crafted statement about someone's passing is null and void if you post it on Twitter. Like, I don't know, I don't feel like Twitter is a good means of like, may God rest his soul, or what, you know what I mean, like that.
Yeah.
I don't-
140 characters to
R.I.P.
memorialize a life. At least 10 of those are a hashtag.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, whoever.
Yeah.
So
Hashtag
actually,
RIP.
hashtag RIP. And then your next tweet will inevitably be about the line at the 7-Eleven or whatever. You know, you spent 140 characters talking about it.
Yeah,
And then it's on to the West Wing marathon.
And this is precisely why that I do not. I try very hard. I mean, sometimes things happen where it's like, I have to do something. But this is why I try very, 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 very hard to keep like my real life, personal life off of my like social media stuff, because like, I there's serious things that happen in my life, but I feel like if I say like one of the serious things happening and then immediately follow it up with like, a joke.
Poop is a funny word.
Yeah, poop is a funny. That it totally
it is
like.
a funny word,
It is a
though.
funny word.
I mean, and to be fair, poop is a funny
It's
word.
an elegantly constructed word.
I mean,
Great.
That
word.
double O in the P's.
it's good.
Perfect.
There's an equal number of
Right.
P's and O's
Yeah.
in poop. But like, I feel like that totally like negates like I said something serious and I followed up with something really stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Did you really care, or were you doing it for? And anyway, for anyone who is curious, Vern's Facebook is like immaculately constructed.
It's my favorite Facebook
Like
in the world.
if most people's Facebook is like a gnarly bush that like rabbits fuck in, like Vern's is an elegantly constructed topiary. It looks like an elephant, but the elephant is like taking a dump on Drew Carey or something. Like, it's really impressive that he made this out of this shrub. So bravo, Vern.
Bravo.
I send a friend request to him. Vern Tooley on Facebook.
On Facebook.
I'm very flattered. First off, I'm humbled. No, like, and I was kind of thinking about this earlier, and it's like, I don't know, it's this. I kind of designed my Facebook as like to be a parody of Facebook accounts. There's no way like there's elements of my real life in there, but there's no way like the me on Facebook is the same as the me in real life and everything. But I was talking about that. I don't really have an idea of where I was going with that. But but it's just it
needs direction.
But yeah, but it's that's the thing. It's like it's so I feel like for me like the best thing I can do like in front of like a situation like anymore like if there's a serious situation I feel like for me the best thing to do is just not bring it up because I feel like just because I'm known for making terrible jokes on my Facebook that like anything serious is like not seen as.
What about, because I know whenever my grandma died a year or two ago,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. She she was pretty old, and I remember posting, she's, one of my closer family members, I remember posting, like, a little, hey, Grandma, I love you, and you're dead now. And not quite in that tone, but, hey, Grandma, you're pretty great, but, you're dead, so what do you do?
That very, lyrical way that you just
at least you didn't say, like, hey, Grandma, I love you, and now you're dead to me.
And now you're dead to me.
Like...
Oh shit. 83 likes on
Hope you
Facebook.
enjoy the afterlife, old bitch. No, I love her.
Whoa, damn.
I love her. She's the best.
Mic drop.
But, yeah, mic drop. Sorry, Avery. So yeah, what about things like that? I think that that's appropriate, where if someone who you're close to dies and you want to get real for a minute, I think...
Yeah. If I may speak for Vern, like a puppet sitting on his lap, and he my ventriloquist.
Well, hold up. Before you do this, let me take a sip of water here.
I don't think he's saying that it is always inappropriate to post about your dead relatives, like you piece of shit who posts about your dead grandma. I think more what he's saying is that he chooses not to. Because, his Facebook is a performance art piece more so than it is a form of social media. And
so should we be holding Vern at this standard?
At
the same standard that
when
we
he
hold
gets a
everyone
status
else to.
that has no likes, it is a weird day for me. Because I always have, it's a pretty consistent 10 or above for you. Even with the worst, stupidest jokes you've ever made.
I think,
so, I assume you hold yourself to almost as high a standard as I hold.
I am, as I said earlier in the podcast, I am very anal. This is totally off track, but there was one time I left my Facebook work open at my old job, and someone came on and they posted something on my Facebook, and they walked away, and they posted me, and I was very, very upset.
You murdered that. I recall.
I did. I'm sorry. But I did it.
So, separate question. When you murder someone, is that appropriate to post on Facebook?
Right, should you say, I murdered
Because
this
there
person?
are documented cases where, someone has robbed a jewelry store, made a Facebook or Twitter post, and then gotten caught based upon that post.
I read a news story
God rest his soul.
I read a news story just last week where someone got caught, because they broke into a house, robbed the place, but in the process of robbing the place, used their computer to check their Facebook and forgot to log out. And so they left the house, and the cop, someone just turned on the computer like, oh, I'm not this person. And the cops arrested them like, oh, your Facebook was open. So I've witnessed that before.
Virtually what you're saying is we're all sheep. You just check Facebook all the time.
That has raised so many questions that are not appropriate for this topic that I just want to talk about, but we're not going to. At least on this episode.
Oh.
Tune in for later episodes.
Tune in for part 2, where we talk about the world's dumbest criminals.
I forgot to pack my church organ in the studio for the next thrilling conclusion. Anyway.
Right.
Sorry.
Those are sound effects that can be added in post. I don't know a lot about sound editing, but I feel as if every soap opera did not happen with someone just off camera playing.
I don't know. I feel like
I'm
that
pretty
was.
sure it did. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was standard practice.
Yeah, the Young and the Restless. I mean, oh wait, no, my Uncle Gary was the Young and the Restless organ player.
But speaking of sound audio, I'd like to now move into our shameless plug section, and then afterwards we're going to bring in our secretest of guests. So first off, I'd like to thank our good friend Avery Waddell. He is our sound engineer.
Oh,
Avery! All the girls drop their panties for Avery.
And they throw them on stage. It's very
throw them on
inappropriate.
stage.
And
He's not even on a stage.
And Avery is like, girls, I have a girlfriend, but
They're like, we don't care.
He does it for love of the art.
Yeah.
He does it because
Mashed potatoes and gravery. He's a good guy.
He is. He's a gravery guy.
It's just hit Avery quits the podcast.
But also in a shameless plug, our friend Avery is now looking for a new job.
So as if you pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nominal coffee.
A little. Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin, do you
Some
have
of
any
the
shameless plugs you'd like to throw out there? Because you do the art thing sometimes.
I do. Okay. So for the uninitiated podcast, I'm a scriptwriter and an amateur filmmaker myself.
Oh.
I'm glad we're finally introducing Kevin now that he's leaving.
Now that the preamble's over, we have 4 great hours of podcasts waiting for you. But in the shameless plug section, I run a blog called ChekhovsGunman.wordpress.com that I update periodically, whenever.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube channel that is my first and last name, Kevin Lanigan. Figure out how to spell it.
With letters.
I'm posting a new
Letters.
short film, hopefully later this week, if I can remember.
Oh.
And we are in the final week of post production on my first real short film called It Didn't Take, which we can hopefully shop out to film festivals. So keep a lookout for that one. That's all I've got.
That's pretty fancy.
Vern, anything you'd like to throw out there?
This is a little early. So much so I probably shouldn't even talking about it.
Sure.
But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. In fact, I
You
will.
eat that piece of cake.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I too have a YouTube channel. It's my first name plus
Vern.
plus yo, making the title Vern. Actually,
Vern,
I don't want to get too technical here, but I have 2 YouTube channels.
Whoa.
One is
buddy, slow down.
One is Vern Yo, and the other is Oi Vern. Kind of like Oy vey, but it's also mixing up Vern Yo. Anyway, after
Spent 10 hours thinking about it.
yeah, it was very long. But anyway, after a hiatus, there might be a couple new videos or 2 appearing on those channels. So subscribe to them, and you will regret it.
Yeah, you definitely will.
Lisa's
As
honest.
for me, I'm a piece of shit. So really, I don't have anything that I can offer to the world.
Paige is a piece
You're
of shit.
working
She'll
on a
be
couple-
floating in your toilet.
Floating in your toilet.
You got a couple
That's true.
writing
I do
projects
have
that
a
you're
few
working
things.
on.
I do have a
They
few
are
things.
far beyond being able to talk about.
Yeah,
them.
that's why I'm like, I have things, but
Yeah.
spoilers, not spoilers. Hang Cliff.
Spoilers. John dies at the end.
John dies. Cliffhanger. You'll just have to figure out later.
Where is that organ?
Just continue.
Seriously, where is that church organ? I need to.
It's fine, man. It's fine.
Okay.
We'll bring it next week. All right. Our good friend Kevin Lanigan is now floating somewhere in the Mississippi River. Not related to the murder that I just committed, but joining us.
But because he really wanted to sail down the Mississippi with old
really
Jim.
wanted to sail down the Mississippi
That was not
with
Kevin.
old Jim.
He
No,
wanted to try he wanted to see what I like to be a booby.
But as you may have noticed, we do have a secret guest. And our secret guest is actually the sentient personhood that is NPR.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
It's
Hi,
good to
NPR.
it's good to see you. Good to finally sit down.
Yeah.
NPR, it's good. It's great to have you.
Hi,
We're
yes.
big fans.
Thank you.
We noticed you're awfully close to the microphone.
Well, listeners really like that up-close mouth whisper that happens across the top of microphone.
Oh.
And I'm just trying to give the people what they want.
Yeah, Vern, it makes the panties drop.
It's very soothing.
On all of my Twitter posts of our radio shows, we get comments about how people wish they were closer to the microphone.
Right.
And you always do what the comments suggest, so here we are.
That's true.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, NPR as the national public radio
Of course.
that you are.
Yes.
As the entire national.
As the entire
I represent
national
all
public
races and creeds, but primarily the white ones. Yes.
radio. Right. Yes. You cover quite a few topics. And we were just talking about death and how to treat that in social media. So,
Those are.
Vern, I know that
yeah.
you just had a question that you'd like to pose.
Yes.
Or a subtopic.
A subtopic, I guess. NPR.
Yes.
If you don't mind, allow me to bend your ear.
Oh, ow.
Which is
I
which
bet that hurts.
It's got the
Yeah.
same anyway, audio jokes.
Pun guns. Pun guns.
I don't know the name.
Thank you.
Your ear that looks like a pop filter. I couldn't
Oh,
think of the name
yes.
of it.
I am assembled from parts found in the NPR break room that were sort of stitched together to make the Frankenstein-like being that you see before you. Yes.
And I mean, I admire the craft work.
I do
Yes,
too.
thank
It's
you.
lovely.
Only the finest American-made lightning was used in my creation.
Beautiful.
Don't laugh at my story.
I'm
Stop laughing at a story.
I'm not laughing.
Come on, man.
I'm
Stop
not-
laughing at your
I'm
story.
not laughing.
What are you going to laugh at next? The death of a celebrity?
The death of a salesman. Actually.
Okay.
Arthur Miller reference.
Get on with it.
Arthur Miller reference guns.
The salesman was
were all
a
like
celebrity.
celebrities.
Anyway, that was okay. NPR. I was wondering, how do you feel about we talked earlier with our friend Kevin about like how social media reacts to like celebrities passing.
Yes.
How do you feel about like when social media reacts to people they know? What do you think is? What would you say is appropriate in that sort of situation?
In NPR's experience, the most common way of grieving for someone, especially a sibling lost, is to make a very long Facebook post about it and make sure to tag that person in the status about them,
Right.
so that
It'll show up on their wall.
So that it shows up on their wall,
So that
that
they are
everyone
aware.
knows that you're very sad about it. Make sure to change your profile picture to a picture of them, especially when you are posting about something not related to their death.
Because I mean, I think
Yes.
I was gonna say I think like
No, sorry.
I mean I think like because if you were a sibling of someone who passed away, it
Yes.
wouldn't be obvious
No,
that you were upset
that's
about
I'm
it
just
unless
sort
you
of pointing out
unless
the
you posted
patterns.
it. Yeah.
That's what
Right.
I do. I don't like to leap to any sort of assumptions. I, as NPR, have no opinion on anything.
Would you say that you're unbiased?
I would say that I am incredibly unbiased. This is NPR. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's
It's powerful.
I gotta say-
those 3 words unite a nation every day from 4 to 5 for fresh air.
I mean, I feel more united than like United We Stand.
Yeah.
No, you don't tread on me, as we say at the NPR station.
That's 4 words.
Well, we say a lot of sentences of varying lengths at the NPR
Oh,
station,
gotcha.
but we make
Oh,
sure
I thought we were-
we
No.
make sure to frequently restate what we're doing. Hi, this is totally off track. I'm NPR, sitting down here with Vern and Paige to talk about
We-
death and social media
I
and their
I
new
think we
and
just
their
lost our show.
he just
and their
hijacked our
new
show.
book. Sorry.
It's
That
It's okay.
That was me reacting
getting
to the
used to your
episode
body.
of Late
That
Late,
was-
Don't Tell Me.
that was
is
the
inside
part of
my head.
NPR where it's like car talk and the brothers make each other laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was listening to an episode as I'm talking,
Yeah.
and occasionally it
So,
will
like-
cause me to burst out laughing.
So
This
NPR.
is NPR.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
I was
yeah.
confused there. So NPR is also broadcasting while you're
Live.
communicating.
Yes,
Oh,
I am legion, for I am many.
Oh,
I have many
This is-
different.
actually a little scary. I don't know.
Shh, it's okay.
Should we have
Just
really...
listen to the smooth.
Hey,
Dulcet
hey,
tones of
NPR, what is that over there on the wall? Paige, I'm really kind of freaked out.
I'm
over
a little
here.
freaked out. I think we're losing our podcast.
I think we're.
NPR.
I think.
Hijacking.
I think we're being hijacked. I think NPR has became like a robot, and it's going to like an android.
So,
Hi, I'm back on NPR.
what
Oh,
do you
NPR.
Yes.
do? You feel any anything?
I feel pain often. You'll sometimes find that I like to play tricks on the people that read the articles of the National Public Radio.
Oh, you mean like on April Fool's Day?
That was exactly. It said that Americans don't read, but the text of the article was pointing out that this was an April Fool's joke, and to go down and read the comments but not contribute to them, and to specifically not contribute to them if you read the article. But down in the article, the comments, it was very funny. They were posting as if they had read an article about how Americans don't read, but we did not, in fact, make an article. These are the kind of things that NPR
Is
knee
that
slappers.
That's
what
a
NPR
gut
is?
Knee
buster.
slappers.
Oh
Is
my
that-
gosh.
Is that what NPR is?
That NPR is many things.
Right.
NPR is leading this interview. Welcome, this is NPR. We are talking with Paige and Vern about
Whoa, I
death
think
and
we-
social
That
media
name's so
and their
cool.
new book, The Pinterest Killings.
Yes,
Yes.
it was,
So tell me,
Yes.
Yeah,
let's.
what? A question you asked me. So what is an inappropriate way to memorialize someone after they have died on social media?
Well, we.
an effigy.
An effigy is an.
On like a video of an or like a JPEG.
Oh, I thought we were talking about just in
On
general.
social media.
Oh, social media.
I mean, also
Oh.
yes though. Effigies bad.
Okay, yeah.
No, inappropriate ways. I would say. I think that I think what kind of gets me is whenever people post about people that they don't actually know very well, where it's like
Sure.
we didn't have a lot of deaths at our high school, thank goodness, but
I'm sorry.
right, it's great.
God rest his soul.
Uh,
This is NPR.
but I would say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, who was I? No, but we did have a death, and I remember a few people, just making these big, these big statuses, and they didn't know him very well at all.
Right.
Like, they never really, came up to him and, talked to him ever. And I think that, that kind of annoyed me. And, I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, a classmate died, that's bad, but, in a
Yes.
good way. But it's another thing to say, oh man, Pablo and I, we were so close. I'm so sad that he's dead now. Who will I make shifty eyes to whenever I pass him randomly
Well,
in the
Who will I
hallways?
cheat off of in biology?
Who will I cheat off of
Just
in
due to
biology?
geography and not
I mean,
his
I think
actual
we can all
intelligence
agree.
score.
I think we're all in agreement here. Death is bad.
I'm against it.
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember. Does anyone remember a website called
Yes.
MySpace?
Oh, yep.
Okay.
All right, I'm listening.
Okay, so back in the days of MySpace, you could freely go in there and change your name as it appeared
Yes.
on profiles. I almost said on Facebook profiles, but that's inaccurate.
On MySpace
Um,
profiles.
I know for a long time I had like a fake name, like Antonio Spaghetti or whatever it may be
Sure.
as my MySpace name.
I'm gonna look it up.
My MySpace has since been deactivated. But anyway, a big popular thing to do amongst the kiddos that were at least in my extended network, if it were, would be to put and hearts at the end of their name.
Oh yeah.
They will put like a little heart symbol or like a
Yeah, like
registered
a-
trademark
Sure.
or something like that. And it was just I don't know, hey, this is cute or whatever. Anyway, someone passed away, and he was fairly well known.
Mhm.
He was in a local band, and someone that was friends with him or something put his initials in brackets at the end of their MySpace name, at the end of the name that appeared on the MySpace profile, and that became huge. Like, everyone was doing that. Everyone was putting initials, and it was I thought it was kind of like, I'm not cool with this because I mean, granted, I didn't know him, but I felt like a lot of people weren't doing it because like, oh, we want to remember him. I think like part of it was like, hey, this is on the bandwagon right now, let's hop on. And I mean, I didn't think that was cool. Like, I'm totally down with memorializing someone after they pass away. And I'm sorry. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like with some people there's a point where that transitions into, I'm sorry, into I would like attention myself.
Yeah.
I think it is when we turn death into a commodity rather than the memorialization of a human life. That is when it truly becomes trivial, and that is we don't want to trivialize the passing of someone. I remember because I've been sentient for longer than I would care to admit. When I was in high school, one of
now, was this a radio high school or was this?
Yeah, did you
only for
go to radio high?
Only for radio
Was it
disc
Radio Free
jockeys
Roscoe?
and sentient radios. And so when I attended Radio High, as we called it,
Right.
one of our classmates passed away. Do you remember the signatures that can go at the bottom of text messages? And it would be like, Brianna loves Jason, etc.
And she does.
Well, when
she
you
really
forward one of those text messages, the signature goes along with it, as does your signature and the signature of the next person and the next person.
Oh, God, yeah.
And there was one text that I received when an old radio friend of NPR's, Ryan, died. That
Ryan Radio.
Ryan
Radio.
Radio.
I'm sorry.
God
I'm sorry.
rest his soul. Or whatever you believe here at NPR.
Is
we
it
don't
inappropriate
take
to
sides.
say
This
that this station just
is
plays
NPR.
funeral music now?
Anyway, go on.
The rest of the story. I received a text messages that was 6 or 7 compounded signatures at the end of a message telling me that one of my friends had died. One of them just being the abbreviation LOL, and another one being Warrior Pride. There was one that said Mizzou rules. That was fun. Right at the end of a text message, informing me that my friend had died in a car accident.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And a second one that we at NPR had a good laugh about. This one, very recent. An acquaintance of NPR's passed away in a motorcycle accident.
I'm sorry.
He on the motorcycle running into a semi-tractor trailer truck. And so many people, they immortalized him in Facebook status, talked about how much they were going to miss him, changed their profile pictures to be pictures of him next to a Bible verse. But they left them up for longer than NPR thinks was appropriate, especially when you start talking about the new car that you bought and post a picture of it right next to the picture of someone who died in a car accident. Terry Gross and I had a very long laugh
Right,
about that
yeah.
one. This
that's...
is NPR. I'm sitting here with Vern and Paige. Their podcast today about death and social media based around their book, The Pinterest Killings,
Yes.
and their subsequent follow-up book, MySpace and My Place in the Afterlife.
NPR is giving us so many books to write. I don't know if we're gonna be able to publish them.
It's
by the time
amazing.
this
People need goals set up. When I sat down
God.
with filmmaker Wes Anderson, he talked about how he set up goals for himself, and I try to do that with all of my guests. This is NPR.
Now, I have a question, because I'm a big fan of Wes Anderson, and you interviewed him, so I gotta know.
Yes.
Were the goals, the multiple goals that he set
Yes.
up for himself,
What were they?
the goals of themselves, were they symmetrical?
They were very symmetrical. They had a very bright color palette, and often featured dry dialogue delivered by children
Okay.
in his real life.
Okay, I was just...
And with that, I think that this would be a good time to probably wrap it up. Any last thoughts about this subject in general that you would like to tell us, that you'd like to share with us, NPR, or you, Vern, or you, Paige?
Are you Kevin?
Are you, Kevin? No Kevins.
Okay.
Kevin's
well,
gone. Forever.
And
But
NPR
if NPR feels like they know what Kevin would say,
Right.
they can.
Hold on. Let me.
He might
first I
call
will
into a
speak
show.
as NPR, and then I will speak as Kevin Lanigan, if that's okay. I
Yes,
feel
that's
as if I
fine.
can speak for him like a ventriloquist.
Sounds
Here, I'll drink the water for you while you're...
Okay, thank you. NPR cannot consume water.
Go.
But
So-
it's not Kevin yet, so.
So
I'm just thirsty.
So sorry. Wait. Don't tell me again. They're very funny. When it comes to death and your social media platform, just be respectful, especially if the parents of the child or people close to them are on Facebook with you. Be sure to be respectful and don't feel like you need to jump on the bandwagon. While at the same time, feel free to post whatever you want because everyone mourns in different and important ways. And it is important for all of us to express them equally. This is NPR. You can follow NPR on Twitter, probably at NPR. That's most likely what
I would assume that's what it would be.
Assume that's it.
it's most likely what our Twitter handle
You
is.
could also listen to them on the radio.
Yeah, just sort of wherever. We're always
Wherever
on
they
somewhere.
fall.
They're always everywhere.
Yes.
And you can download our podcasts, which are just online forms of our radio shows. The kids these days and the
The
things they
kids.
listen to.
Good kid.
Inserting program. Kevin. Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh,
Whoa!
hey,
Wow.
I just gotta say, Kevin, I don't know where you're at right now, but right now we have this jangled mess of old radio equipment that's just emanating your voice right now.
Yeah, that's the program. It's
I
pretty great technology
didn't realize
these
that
days.
you were still alive.
Yeah, all run on Windows Media Maker, actually.
Wow, about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Windows Media. Yeah.
So
but,
your last thoughts about this subject
of death and social media.
Social media.
Let's see. I feel that humor is an important facet of anything that is difficult to understand. Like death, even those that claim to understand it really don't, and we know literally no one knows what happens when we toss off this mortal coil. And so humor, much like humor directed at terrible dictators or humor directed at like things we can't comprehend, it helps to humanize those things. And so, you know, when Paul Walker dies and you get a Fast and the Furious joke, or like when the person who invented the takeout Chinese food container died, Weekend Update made a joke about how he wanted to be immortalized by having a bunch of chewing gum stuck to him.
You just reminded me of something that I heard on the radio. I am so sorry to interrupt
Was
you.
it NPR? Sorry.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
It was but it was this guy, and he was
Where that
doing
came
a segment. I don't even remember what the radio show is, but it doesn't matter. It was whenever the guy from Nintendo, whenever he died.
Yeah.
The guy from Nintendo?
Yeah, the CEO, right?
The guy that created the Game Boy? Gunpei Yokoi?
Maybe, I don't know. It was something like he worked for Nintendo. He was like a higher.
John Nintendo.
Sure.
Oh,
John Nintendo.
John Nintendo, yeah.
Well, I told you John dies.
At the end.
He at the end.
Hey, yeah.
But this guy, the radio personality, made a joke that he didn't get the one up, and which I snickered at. But my friend who was in the car with me at the time was like, "That's not in great taste."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're right, it wasn't," but I still snickered at it.
While we're sharing funny death jokes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's
hilarious.
another one from Weekend Update when the guy who invented the remote control died, and they talked about how he wanted to be buried between two sofa cushions. And so, but sort of in the final days, I think that humor is an important part of processing anything. You know, whether it's a part of denial or just someone making a joke. You know, different people want to be remembered in different. There are some people who would like to be remembered that way. Just don't be openly like antagonistic towards
Right.
someone. Would be, I think that's the one general rule of like, you know, if oh god, what if Rush Limbaugh were to die tomorrow?
Oh, like when
Do
Osama
not-
bin Laden died.
Right.
Or when Fred Phelps died.
Yeah.
Or any of those people. Do not openly antagonize someone who just died.
Right.
That is the only thing I think is in truly poor taste. There are others who would say differently, but I think that humor is often part of the grieving process. You know, what do you talk about at funerals? It's not like the sad things that they did, it was the fun times that
Right.
you had. So I think that humor is a part of the grieving process, and I think that the only thing that is inappropriate, on as far as I am concerned, is being like, thank goodness they're gone and off this planet.
I agree with
That's
that.
the only thing that thank God Fred Phillips died. And like, look, he was a terrible person, by all accounts. But that's not.
If you're listening in from Westboro Baptist Church,
come on down. We'd really like to talk to you.
No, like legitimately.
This is broadcasting live out of Paige's apartment. The studio.
The studio.
Ooh, all right. That's my cue to exit.
Jerk.
Thank you, Kevin, and NPR personhood. Vern, do you have any end thoughts?
You know, I can't say it any better than Kevin did.
All
but
right.
I'm sure going to try.
All right.
No, I think Kevin totally hit the nail on the head. Yeah, you know, I think just like bashing someone, and I'm guilty of this in the past, but I've since learned that death is a real thing, and it can happen to someone very close to you, and you will regret making jokes when you do that. So yeah, I totally think that just openly bashing, you know, when someone, you know, like, just openly making a sport of someone when they pass away is in a terrible taste.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I you know, in dealing with the great unknown or with anything, I'm always a big fan of using humor. Humor and jokes and things like that have definitely helped me when having to deal with the subject of death. And I hope that whenever I die, there are some really, really funny jokes made about how I died and at my expense.
Oh, don't worry, there definitely will be.
and I've already got at least 4 of them
Right.
planned. So.
4 of us.
At least, so.
Yeah, as for me, I pretty much agree. I typically don't make a lot of jokes about people who have died, but especially if it's like a recent thing. Mainly what I try to keep in mind is that everyone has a family and a group of people who love them, usually at least, and if not, then just assume that they do have people who care about them and love them. And you know, just think that those people don't want to see your shitty attitude towards their loved ones after they've just died. So that's what I always keep in mind. And typically, I think that the only thing that really crosses the line for me, including what Kevin and Vern expressed with just like saying, thank God they're gone. Along with that, I think that it's not cool whenever you profiteer off of their death. Pretty much. Profit off of their death. I can't words. So those are my closing thoughts. And if you have any thoughts about this topic and would like to share them, please find us on the Facebook.
Leave a comment on iTunes.
Leave
You can
a
attack
comment on
Paige and myself on Twitter directly
Yes,
if you would so
that's
like.
true.
Or me.
You know what? I
Or
don't think that I
Vern.
actually gave out my Twitter.
We have not.
It's tipping_teapots, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can never
You
remember.
don't know your own.
Well, I don't remember if I
But
have
I
an
know it by
underscore
heart.
or like a.
If you knew your
underscore.
Twitter handle, the teapots wouldn't be tipping
Oh,
over.
and that's spelled
and-
like
alright,
a
so-
normal tipping teapots.
So Paige's Twitter is tipping_teapots.
Tipping_teapots.
On Twitter. Vern.
Mine is Varn, VARNYO, Varnyo, just like my YouTube, but with the letter A instead of the letter E.
You're the
It's
worst.
it's not updated very frequently. It's not very funny.
Yeah.
It's not very anything. But if you want to follow me,
So,
go ahead.
there you
And
go.
Rob Delaney favorited a tweet of mine the other day.
Hooray.
So there's
I've got
that.
some pretty famous
Uh,
favorites myself.
Real
But-
Big Fish followed me.
Whoa!
So,
The official Comedy Bang Bang Twitter follows me, so
Whoa!
yeah, sucker.
Whoa.
But that Twitter, for anyone interested, is at Kevin Wrote This, exactly as it sounds, and NPR's is at NPR.
yeah. So, find us all on Twitter, comment on our Facebook page, totally off track. And with that, thank you for joining us this episode. We will see you next Wednesday,
Now,
most likely.
let's get out of here before this clinking collagenous mess of
NPR
radio
has
Oh,
a
God.
taste for
He's
blood.
coming.
Oh, God.
NPR
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
has
Oh, God.
Crunk.